Michael Wiederman, and welcome to Mindful Professional Development. I'd like to spend a few minutes today sharing with you a model or metaphor that I find very useful and seem to use it in so many things that I do. It's the fact, story, feelings model. And it starts with the premise that this probably represents what most of us experience subjectively as we go about our lives. That is, things happen out there. People say things, people do things or don't do things, and we have a reaction. We have an emotional reaction. So it feels to us as though our feelings are coming directly from or being directly caused by whatever is happening. But of course, as you talk to psychologists or counselors or therapists, they're quick to point out that this is the more accurate kind of model. That is, things happen out in the world, but they're filtered through our perceptions, our interpretation. I like the word story here because it reminds me that this is a construction inside my head. And that's then what leads to my feelings or my reactions. And so with that part left out, it just feels like things happen and I have a reaction. This part implies that I have some control. It also really implies strongly that there's a lot of subjectivity, because notice that the story that I create is not only influenced by what happened or is happening, but also by my past experiences, certainly all the underlying beliefs and assumptions that I come into the world with and navigate the world with, my current physiological state, my current mood, what just happened right before this, what I was thinking about, am I hungry, am I tired? There are all these things that factor into our story, but of course, our story is generated by our mind, and that is who we are. And so we're not even aware of all of that happening. It just feels instantaneous to us. And so I think we tend to underestimate or not recognize all the different factors that influence our feelings that don't necessarily have to do with what just happened. But again, we ascribe or attribute all of our feelings or reactions to what's happening in the world. So I find this so useful because it implies that I probably should focus on being more self-aware and trying to determine the underlying factors that are influencing my story. I should probably also recognize that my story is not going to necessarily be the same as somebody else's. That could be the other person that I'm reacting to, or just somebody who observed the same thing happening. And so we each have our own stories, and especially when it comes to interactions with each other, there's a lot of subjectivity, and people can leave the interaction with very different stories or interpretations of what happened. So again, recognizing that subjectivity, trying to share that with the other person, examining it myself to try to understand it better, and therefore have more insight into why I'm reacting the way I am. And that gives me the opportunity then to hopefully make some choices and be more conscious in my reactions and feelings versus just reacting and not recognizing the power of my story. Well, thank you, and I hope to hear from you soon.